ばんは。今日は何をしましたか？すみません。Yo, I didn't finish, dude. Where's my thing? I got this much left. Oh, thank you. You didn't close my door. Thank you so much. Dude, could you believe it? I got this much, but check this out. Because I am already ahead of the game anyways. You guys want to see how big Mia got? Dude, she eats like a cow, bro. She eats like a cow. Papa! Papa! I'm ready for the next two. I'm ready for the next two. Look at this. Yeah, I said... Oh! 今日はずっと家にいたよ. You stayed at home? You didn't eat anything? Having the next two doesn't help you. If you're not done with this one, dude, shut up. Why do you keep doing that? Well, dude, it's good to be back streaming. Yesterday, yeah, I read as much as I could, and then I fell asleep reading. Arthur, whoa, greetings from Portugal, bro. There we go. Dude, from Portugal? I only know one word in Portuguese. That's obrigado. So obrigado for coming to my stream. In Portuguese. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we got two choices. Two choices, and I think, I don't know honestly which one you guys are going to pick, but I'm going to give you the choice here. Choice number one. We play video games. Choice number two. We watch the debate. I mean, I don't know how much longer there's left on the debate, but I guess we could see. It does sound like arigato. But instead of arigato, obrigado. Games. I like the way you think, Matt. I like the way you think. Dude, I really thought the Kingdom Hearts 2 opening is gonna do so good, but instead I got knocked off 10 out of 10. I thought this video really hit the nostalgia, but it definitely didn't. Oh well. Oh the fuck well. You know what's funny? And then Ren's like, there's no hope, and honestly, I'm not even a part of it. I'm only here for a couple months, and I'm deucing out of here. Please. Please do. Just deuce out of here. No, are you kidding me? There's so many videos where it's like, it gets thousands and thousands of likes. I can't. Nah, there's. You know, it's crazy how Kingdom Hearts is a niche topic. If freaking Disneyland gets the characters out for Donald and Goofy wearing the Kingdom Hearts costume in Disneyland, I think it's not as niche as you guys think. I guess games it is, but let's see the debate. I guess it's done. No. Oh, here we go. You're watching My Hero right now? You're not even caught up? I'm so caught up. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, Spanish! Perfect! They don't want Spanish.
You told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, well, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just ask you,
David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle, they took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask you.
You might ask her that question.
You were the
Just
president.
so then
You were
I
watching
probably
it unfold
won't
on
run into
television.
them.
It's a very simple question.
I hope I
as we
don't.
move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others.
You know, I didn't realize how old Kamala Harris looks.
10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for
could
what
do a reading
happened.
stream.
They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers
I honestly
were
don't
injured,
know who's winning.
and some died.
Let's see.
And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate.
Oh,
And what
she's
did
getting the
the president
anti-Semitic in
then
there.
at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by.
Let me just read one more time.
So
here.
for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people?
Guys, why are they still talking about the Capitol? It's just so annoying. Like, I get it. He did it. He's not going to admit it. Move on.
To come through on the southern border. How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave
What's
this
up,
debate
JSP?
right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically.
But
You know
those-
that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do
I kind of want to say one thing about this debate is that the people voted for Trump to be the Republican nominee for running to be president. I do want to say that Kamala Harris, nobody voted for her. She was endorsed by Genocide Joe. And nobody gave a flying hoot to vote. And now it's just kind of crazy about, for real. For real. And it's like, I don't think people are getting that. I don't think Kamala Harris would have even made it to the final selection. She's not. Nobody voted for this chick. I don't know why she thinks, I don't know. It's just so, it's so crazy. It's just so rigged. It's ridiculous. He, as much as like, you know, people hate to admit, he made it to the top. Nobody wants this guy. And somehow he still made it to the top.
do is look at it, and they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got
He also lies a lot. Like this 75 million vote. Like his numbers suck, but he's here.
63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal
He's a huge bragger. But everyone is a bragger.
immigrants coming in,
Not
they're
as much
trying
as
to
him,
get
though.
them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said
They
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality.
He's a bullshitter, but he's like the boy who cried wolf. All right, he lies. But then there's this one time where he's actually telling the truth. Here, there it is. No judge is gonna look at it because of everything else that, you know, he brags about.
Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you do a special on it, I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he's still...
Oh my God, I just realized they don't have an audience. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, look. Okay, I'm going to turn off my thing for a second, but look at their desk. I'm right here. All right, we'll take that off too. Look at the desk. I wonder if they can see how many people are watching. If not, maybe it's none of their concern. But
believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he
okay.
is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as
I'm
he did.
so sorry. What was the question that she's not even answering?
They have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote.
Okay.
Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Okay.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people.
That's crazy.
So let's be clear about that.
That's
And
crazy.
clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot
Can I just
afford
say
to
it's
have
been 4 years? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been a good 4 years and he's still processing that.
a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election.
Preach it on.
And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States,
Shut up, dude.
and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you.
I also want to point out that this chick, right, as vice president, she preaches, as president, I will do A, B, and C. And she also talks about stopping the genocide. You are still in the chair, bitch. You're still vice president. You can still stop a genocide that's happening. For example, you can still implement the things that you are talking about because you are literally on the second chair. Nobody's talking about Joe anymore. It's a good thing he stepped down. The media has disappeared. The government has paid off the media to shut up and not talk about Joe. All right? And she's over here saying, when I'm president, I'll do A, B, and C, even though she's forgetting that she's still in the chair. No, but she has influence. But she has influence. She still has a say in things. She's still in the White House. Nah. You can't tell me nah. You can't. She's also like, and everyone's a fraud here.
And they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost.
By the way, she is not African American. I want to tell you that right now. She's like, I think she's half Jamaican. And, which is the funny part. Kamala Harris. Ethnicity. They says African American, but her parents is from Indian, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, she's half Indian, half Jamaican. She's not African American, dude. Which is also crazy.
Because you did, in fact, lose that election. It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary.
Matt, even you know, being African and being African American are two different things, and you know it. And he's straight up from Jamaica itself. I think that's a thing, right? That is a thing.
They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Okay.
Well, let's...
Before she answers, she's literally currently in the chair that can influence Mr. Biden. Let's see what she has to say.
Understand how we got here. On October 7th,
we lost her.
Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed.
Murdered. Not completely murdered, girl. And I hate the fact that they don't even talk about the Nakba where it all started in 1948, but they always, every single person in the government talks about October 7th as if it all started there.
Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out.
It's been almost a year.
So we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution.
No.
And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel.
What she says is utterly just bullshit. Like, clearly, it's like every single person in the government says the same exact thing, word for word, because America's in bed with Netanyahu.
But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
Right.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party.
You know what I think? And I don't know. Again, I'll never know. I'm probably never going to meet this girl. But what if Kamala Harris secretly is with and sides with the Palestinians, but like someone just has a gun to her head to just let her, as a puppet? Because I don't know, man. Like, for her having multiple background, multiple ethnicity to be thinking this way is insane to think that she sides with Netanyahu.
Party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened.
I hope it is gone.
Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
He didn't say anything about a two-state solution. He didn't say anything about meeting with Netanyahu. He didn't say anything about a ceasefire. I don't know what's in this man's head. And I don't know what he's going to do.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true.
That's
I have
preposterous.
my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known.
That is actually pretty interesting, Matt. That's kind of cool.
That he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why
What's up, Michael?
so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national.
She is the one that caused it. Thank you so much. She is the one that caused it. She's literally in the chair currently. And he only talked about Russia and Ukraine. I don't understand.
National security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent.
Kamala's not any better.
One question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment. Palestine.
As long as it takes.
All the homes are gone, all the buildings are gutted.
What goes through your mind when you see fire that close to your home?
Oh my God, am I gonna die?
Focusing on issues that matter.
Position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight.
24 hours, cool.
How
What's
exactly
up, Adrian?
would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine
They're both
to win
bad.
this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in
Fake
for
numbers.
250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw...
To be honest with you, this country got a lot of fixing. I just want to let you know that the world is laughing at America. You know how, like, I don't know about you guys, but like being a dual citizen here, right? Looking at, like, as a kid, I think people back in the day, they're like, dude, I want to be an American. Like, I want to go to America and just like the quote unquote American dream, right? People think America's so cool. Now, I feel like the world is laughing at America. Rightfully so. It's been such a shit show. Rightfully so. Honestly, I would tell everybody to, like, try to pick other countries. Explore other countries. I can tell you, though, the nature aspect of America, forget the government, forget the suburbs, city life, but the nature reserves of America is a beautiful thing, and I think people should explore that instead of exploring the cities, because I think it's definitely worthwhile to see. My dad, he's been on a motorcycle ride, ever since he started riding his motorcycle, he always showed me. He's like, you can literally see every single thing in America in terms of the nature side of it, like the mountains of Colorado or the plains of, I don't know, whatever, the swamps, the terrains, things like that. But it's kind of crazy. Like, if I were to tell someone you should visit America, I definitely would give them like a map of everything, of all the national parks instead of the cities, to be quite honest with you, because this is insane. Like, America needs to shape up.
Him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And
Thank you so
They
much.
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president?
That's exactly what I just said. Where is he? He's not. The media's not even talking about this guy.
But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up. Just to clarify in the question,
That's
do
crazy.
you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any
Let's
different
see.
from what we're seeing
Her
from
bullshit.
President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms.
I think a
which
lot
is
of
the
us are too
importance
left
of
right now.
sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump...
This is such hypocrisy. It's insane. Insane how they can talk about Ukraine and Russia and Ukraine being invaded, but not talk about how Palestinians have been being invaded. It's such a hypocritical subject, a bit like just being two-faced.
were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand
She's not even answering the question.
what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Honestly, her response was pretty good. And yeah, Trump is not having it. But can I tell you though, like as much as I hate both of them, in terms of what I'm watching right now, who stands stronger? Kamala looks like she's standing stronger. But I don't know if I would vote for Kamala.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear
he's like,
weapons.
shut up.
Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. and the war started 3 days later.
Vice
And
President?
that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes
Probably.
down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times.
And
The
Putin?
reality is, it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
Oh, you mean the $100 billion that you gave to Israel so they can continue the genocide? Oh, you mean that part? The one where you also agreed to do? Oh, hypocrite.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will
Yes.
tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan.
See? See how she has a say in this?
4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war.
We paid with our taxes for the genocide.
And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban.
Right.
The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David.
Dude, Ren, that must be frustrating. Have you tried to talk to her about it?
A place of storied significance.
You know what? Don't
for
talk
us
about it so you won't get kicked out.
as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers.
Maybe you can tell her on your way out the door.
and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems.
That if you're going to have problems if you do it anymore. That's it. That's what I told. And you know what? He listened. He listened. That's all I had to say. I had to tell him don't do it. He stopped doing it.
And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind.
That's
just
true.
to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
They did leave a lot of equipment. I do remember that situation because people were pissed. Our tax dollars literally left in the sand for people to steal. Yeah, Biden messed it up. It's true. A lot of new equipment was left there for people to now steal and own.
And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago.
Ugh. That was crazy.
When she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
Okay, we talked about this before he answers. Let's see what he's going to say.
Don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Like we talked about, she's half Indian, half Jamaican.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was a...
Listen, I mean, Kamala's bad, Trump is bad. I mean, but we also have to look at the facts, right? We have to see... All right, you could leave, Islam. We have to see... Oh my God, I gotta sneeze. Wow, that's not coming out. No, it's not. No, it's not coming out. Okay, we have to see like what their promises are, and if they follow through.
a land he'd owned.
And she's not gonna say where she's from. She's not gonna say her ethnicity right now. I'm telling you.
Land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families.
Right.
Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that.
You're not
Want
black.
better than this. Want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country.
Not fully, at least.
We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me,
I'll look it up.
can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people?
The funny thing is, he literally just said, I don't care who she is. This is what I read. And now it's this. That's all he said. She's literally trashing him right now.
Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up, Lindsay.
I want to respond to
Okay.
that. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life, to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Do that.
That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's turn
Trump,
back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay. Thank
you,
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
the
President
former
Trump.
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I just need
going to move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is now
times.
your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it.
An hour and a half?
I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be? Never going to be great. Or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones, too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not-too-distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
What do I miss?
As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said, at the time because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company...
This is very manipulative strategy where she uses people's emotion and looks right at the camera, looks you right in the eye and be like, remember what that was like? Remember? I was out in the bathroom.
Could deny.
They're talking about Obamacare, Affordable Care Act. He said it was trash. She likes it. She dissed him about not liking John McCain. She's looking people in the eye to feel with her.
If a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes, and thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. 100%. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that
she is actually saying what she's going to do, but he hasn't mentioned a single thing, which is not good for him.
Access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be
acting, Arthur,
to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice President Harris,
in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot of...
She made a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said the climate change is a hoax. And
exactly.
What we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as Vice President over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created...
All right, well, here's the thing. We've been watching this for about an hour. I don't know how... Oh, are they done? I think, this is the last one before they go to break.
Over
okay, let's watch this.
800,000 new manufacturing jobs. While I have been vice president, we have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son,
we all know also China's buying a hell of a lot of property in the United States. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how much China owns America. Nobody talks about that.
They get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
That's true.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this
closing
ABC
statements?
News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Okay. All right, we got closing statements. All right.
David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past. And an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe
it's time
that
to turn
the
the
American
page.
people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President
Thank you so
Harris,
much.
thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix
That
the
right
border.
there.
They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do.
What
but
are you
haven't
gonna do,
done it,
Trump?
And you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't
Okay,
believe
but
in.
what are you gonna do?
You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me.
Dude.
We're laughed at all over
on.
the world. They don't
You don't got
understand
time.
what happened to us
What are you
as a
gonna do?
nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on.
All right.
We have wars going on in the Middle East.
So what are you
We
gonna
have
do to
wars
fix
going
it?
on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and
Okay.
it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of
He's
weaponry.
not gonna tell us.
I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them
He's-
are criminals,
no, he's still
and
not
they're
gonna say it.
destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history
You didn't
of
even,
our
you
country.
didn't even say it.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia.
So dumb. He didn't even say what he was gonna do. And that's, yeah, honestly, Harris's closing statement was kind of stronger than his. He just kept trashing her, which kind of sucked. But whatever. All right, shall we play? Shall we play? Debate classification? Yeah, dude, for real. For real. Dude, that's literally all they do. What's up, Tovmir? How's it going, bro? You just missed our first hour of debate. Is it over? Are we safe? We can be. You guys can choose Fall Guys or Fortnite. Let's add some music in the background here. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. There's always gonna be another mountain Always gonna wanna make it move. You know what I mean? Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Something like that. Oh, we got one Fall Guys and one Fortnite. There's 7 other people on here. I kind of read the last sentence of the book a couple weeks ago. But I want to know how she got there. But we'll talk about it in 10 days. Fall Guys? Alright. Am I gonna be first? I'm gonna be first. Starting off strong, baby. I get it. How about next game? I'll do next stream I'll do Fortnite. I think it's your duty as a citizen to vote. I really do think everybody should vote. What is up with everyone? No, we're gonna have a members stream in 10 days, bro. We talk about the book in 10 days. Remember, every 20th of the month we have a members only stream. This is why we have the book club. We're talking too much about it because it's so good. I can't stop talking about it either, but it's so good. Hurry up and get your next book. I know. 1 month goes by so quickly. Guys, I was literally what is up? Can no one play today? Of course. You mean to tell me nobody's at the freaking finish line right now? Oh, he's waiting. Wow, so dumb. Alright, dude. Come on, man. Thank you so much. A VA? You're working with a voice actor? A legit voice actor? Dude. Would you want to be a voice actor? I'd love to be one. I think I really do, not to toot my own horn, but I really do think I have a voice for it. To be a good voice actor. Well, why don't you ask them like a way in, bro? I'm sure everybody does. No way! That's so cool. Uchiha Madara. Shine! hate this one. Of course, this is... I'm saying it in Japanese, but dude, that's really cool, man. But yeah, have you ever thought about a way in the voice acting world? Would you want to? Alright. 3, 1. 1 dragon fruit, 3 durians. No way! Wow, that's so cool. One, 2, 3 plums. 2 pears, 3 plums, 4 durians. 2 pears, 3 plums, 4 durians. Oh, okay. 3 dragon fruit, 4 plums, 2 pears. 4 plums, 3 dragon fruit, 2 pears. 4 plums, 3 dragon fruit, 2 pears. 4 plums, 3 dragon fruit, 2 pears. 4 plums. And crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't even know Funimation was in Texas. By the way, I'm on season 6 of Suits, and Mike just got into the bar, and I'm praying that Harvey and Donna are together because, oh my god, Harvey's such a hunk. Ugh, and I want Harvey and Donna to be together. If I'm gonna have to wait 3 more seasons for them to be together, I'm gonna cry. Perfect, dude. This is like absolutely perfect. Let's go! Let's go! 100%. 100%. His smile, his vulnerability. My first game and I won, by the way. Dude, I've been winning so much. I won so many times last stream. Yeah, Harvey's vulnerability, like Gabriel Macht, if I say his last name right, what a wonderful, beautiful actor. Marcin! Dude, how you doing, man? How's the game coming along? You can call me a binger, baby. I'm a binger. What is this? I'm the best binger you'll ever meet. in watching a show, not eating. I can never binge eat. For me, when I eat and I feel like stopping, I'll stop. I can never continue. I'll throw up. Oh, that was crazy. Oh, no way! I'm not first. Damn. You booked flights to Japan? You're gonna have such a good time. When are you going? Last one. That was crazy. No, I have a job. 19th of November. You are gonna go peak season of autumn. You have to go to the pagoda that overlooks Mount Fuji. It's there's an autumn the autumn festival and just the trees and you're gonna eat a whole bunch of nutmeg and I'm sorry, chestnuts and sweet potato and kakas. And the weather is perfect. I'm so happy for you. That's around the time I went. I want to go again around that time. I gave it a shot. That was crazy. To be honest with you, I just like have it on in the background when I play it. Arigato. Nihon daisuki. Oh. Oh, but by the way, follow Navito Halal on Instagram. Write that down right now. He literally finds so many halal options in the heart of Japan. And also, where are you going? 1 banana, 2 durian. I was gonna say something. Oh, I went to a ramen shop the other day, and they're like, their whole style is Japanese. Hold on, I gotta think. 4 pair. What? 2 durian, 1 dragon fruit. 4 pear, 2 durian, 1 dragon fruit. 1 second, 1 second. Okay, he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, like long time no see." And I'm like, "Oh man, can I tell you this in Japanese?" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." I'm like, "Oh, anata no kami kakkoi desu." He goes, "Oh, nihongo no jouzu." I was like, "Ah, thank you." All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 plums, 3 pears, 2 durians. I hope I get this right. Yeah, wasn't paying attention. He's like, "Oh, 今日はアボカドトーストと how do you say tuna? I'm going as far out as Fukuoka, then making our way back to Tokyo. Fukuoka, I don't know, but I know Tokyo. There's a lot of there's a lot of options. I would honestly choose to stay in Japan for 6 months between the months of October all the way to April. Tsuna. Is that what you guys call it? Like, you literally call salmon sake, but you call tuna tsuna? Come on, there has to be another word for it. Madaro? I already knew a lot before. I've been studying Japanese since high school. Tsunakan? No way, man. I'm sorry, that's so lame. Watashi wa hajimaru benkyou. Watashi wa hajimaru nihongo benkyou. Wait, how would I say this? Watashi wa hajimaru. No. Watashi wa 10年前始まる日本語を勉強しました. Oh! That was so good! Yeah! Yeah! Wait, did that make sense? Please tell me that made sense. I think it does make sense. Please! Please! Ugh, it's taking too long. This is taking a long time. I'm not having any validation. Hold on, Michael. I'm gonna read your comment in a second. god, that was so close. I was not playing my cards right here. I had teriyaki beef the other day and finally decided to try wasabi, even though it was a little bit. My nose burned for like 5 seconds. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever like wasabi. That absolutely makes sense. But chotto oshi? 私は10年前初めて日本語を勉強しました。Oh, so I missed the particle. Yeah, what's up? I can? Which sushi place do you guys go to? Oh, okay. I'm finishing up my last game. Oh, you're at the place? No, you're at sushi. Okay, I know. I got it. Yeah. Okay. Alright, my last game. Oh, hajimete. Ah. Yeah. I'm close. That was not bad. That's it? Well, yeah, there's only one rhino. If there was 3 of them, a lot more people would have been knocked out. That means... Sasuga-san, arigato. Oh, wait. Yeah. 日本語とっても上手。いえ。上手じゃないですよ。私の日本語悪い。It really is bad. If I can just pay someone to speak to quite often, I think I'd be pretty good in Japanese, to be honest with you. We all expect. Why is this taking so fucking long? Wow. You know, I thought about calling you, but I didn't know if you were gonna be down, so I didn't. To be fair, I only started playing 30 minutes ago. Oh shit, both of them? It's my last game. I know. It doesn't hurt to ask. You're right. Okay, are you free to play that fish game on Thursday? We have to download it though. It is my last game. I like the finger pointing. Alright. How did... Alright, son. Malek, one more, dude! Can you send me the link for it? We're gonna play a new game on Thursday, you guys. It's on Steam. Well, what is it called? Ugh, I need to finish! I'm probably also gonna win because I want this to be my last game. I have to beat my sister. Malak, how's your finger? I hope someone gets knocked off. Are you serious? That was crazy. Do you have specific days to do streams? For context, I sliced my finger. Okay. It's doing alright, yeah. Yeah, dude, she was playing tennis and it bled through the band-aid. I don't have specific days that I do stream because it's always numbered, but I do usually list my schedule. I haven't listed my schedule for the past 2 weeks, and that's totally my fault. But I will tell you this. I don't think tomorrow I'm streaming. Thursday and Friday I will be streaming, so just keep that in mind. And Saturday and Sunday is always up in the air. I know Sunday I will be streaming. Friday I like to stream because it's Friday. It was. Could you believe that? I thought I was gonna win that. You can watch it, but the Spark Noses, they both sucked. Kamala tried using emotion to capture the audience, and Trump basically just trashed Kamala. He did have some good points, but still. Well, at least we'll be doing it on Friday. Habibti. Fellas, I do have to go. I am going to be playing tennis. So you'll probably see some, you know, small snippets. But thank you guys for joining. You guys are the best. You guys take time out of your day to hang out with me, and I appreciate you guys all the time. You guys mean a lot to me. And I will see you guys on Thursday with a new game with Malak. So stay tuned. Peace out. Oh, I won't.